So this is the rope that broke and caused the water... The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks? Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler? Whoa. Look, most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. Huh. So if a rope meant to hold some... Wait, Paimon...
This location has also been cordoned off because the magic troupe, the seats were all booked in advance. So we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity. Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from... Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House. But she'd been feeling some pressure with her. The magic troupe members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. Simply put, she wasn't related to the magic troupe at all.
Were the victims of previous cases?
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range.
Okay then.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen, it is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom.
I see that you're investigating the area. If you find any new and interesting leads...
We don't have too many...
Then why don't I tell you my hypothesis?
The thud? Oh, you...
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terrible. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lenny's trick with bated breath. So no one...
That makes sense.
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Lenny's accomplice. Lynette, perhaps. And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope.
Wait, wasn't the noise we heard...
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly... Oh, that's true.
That does remind Paimon...
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's...
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think...
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Lenny and Lynette with their side of the investigation.
You're trying to help them?
Lenny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his... Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine... I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to... In other words, Lenny knew who would be sitting where from the very beginning.
That much checks out.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Lenny.
Even though it's bad for...
Lenny's still talking to the guards. Let's see. I think someone will be assigned to monitor.
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to...
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the... From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you and I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus, Demoiselles.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What can...
Well, I am the second generation...
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer Bob...
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Nav.
Okay, if you say so.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. Judging from the look of things, I find
Really? We think so too! That's why, but how did you come to that?
Intuition, naturally. My Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive... But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And...
Sounds more like you just...
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her... All right, I've answered your question.
Wait a minute! Did that answer
Well, I say it does. But don't... In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like...
Well...
And why would that be? See, Silver and...
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience, and if that can be done.
All right, that's quite enough, Melus. Now, I need to make some preparations, following which I'll...
Wait! Since when did we become a...
Oh, well, I can be the assistant. Sure.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe you wish to save a friend from false accusations.
You have a point. And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got...
I have nothing to add.
Oh, alrighty then.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let...
Whoever the murderer was, they must have made preparations well beforehand. This rope was obviously tampered with. People needed to register and reserve a seat for the show. That, combined with this number selector, why would it be him? Gosh, no wonder the serial disappearances never got... We all heard that noise, didn't we?
Sorry, but no one can freely enter or exit.
No, we're not leaving. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes, after the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone... So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not... I doubt there was much...
How can you be so
Well, because I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. But still, I did not abandon my post. And I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much... We Melazines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl... Alright, thank you for your help. This'll be useful. We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Linny's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we? things are getting interesting, huh? We're about to see how magic is made.
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull.
You may spare the pleasantries.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine.
Oh, new helpers?
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the...
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will...
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other...
Ah, good eye. That said, you're...
The back? You mean the inside?
Very good indeed. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right. See this flatbed? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will...
I see. So...
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put in.
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in...
Right! You were talking that whole time, and...
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to it. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began...
And what about Lynette?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back.
Oh,
That's how we were able to coordinate Lenny's lines with the assistant. And by...
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's... And that's my favorite part of this trick.
So that's how it all worked! Wow!
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping, and then I walk out of the other box in the audience area. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member.
We really don't know how that...
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. And yet, to think that someone was able to use... Could we have a look around? I think we can...
This is the scene of the crime. So Lenny and Lynette are not permitted.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now.
Thanks, everyone.
The performance would not have been visible from where the doors were guarded. Well, there was no chance, and that's why only the 2 of them can digging a tunnel just for a magic trick? Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
Perhaps it was a prop for a different...
Whatever it is.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which... What?
Oh! Paimon knows! It's
be?
Let's note.
Oh, her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
Right. And do you really need to... Ugh, this is so confusing. What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through here.
Could this have...
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to...
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes, let's head back up. Well, we've ascertained the state of the crimes. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape?
They believe the odds of that are very low. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the...
So the tunnel's become like a secret chamber that...
The plot thickens. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we...
Charges and then trial. So
that's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice... That's right. This is how indemnity... The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys... To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And
once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make... Then, finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials. The resultant return...
Huh? So that machine is the one that...
in practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same... yes, the guards also asked me to because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That...
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if...
I'm ready to break out.
Whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks that...
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering...
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to... what better way to properly think through our findings?
Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all. Just kidding! Paimon...
What do you mean, no snack?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Wait, you're carrying a portable...
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the...
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight.
These three are quite the interesting group. And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still... From the way you had these two guys carrying all that... But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself.
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy...
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only... Don't underestimate beating egg weights, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also... Anyway, give these a try. Fresh out of the oven.
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send...
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite. No need for concern.
All right then. Down to business. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not the magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between hulls, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd...
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the...
True. None of the clues we found thus far, but the only people left to consider are both...
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic...
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, nor does she have any motive. The guard said that she has never...
From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible... Your macarons are amazing though, Navia.
They are my specialty after all.
What? 5? Oh, that...
Please don't worry about it. At my age of...
No. Being greedy is... Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her...
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us, Loose, set up the stove.
Huh?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly.
As you wish, Demoiselle.
And I have the egg sugar.
Well, this...
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have an... I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied.
All right, thanks for your help.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Maloose, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
All right, it's time.
Just relax. Even if everyone else is... Besides, I doubt Farina understands.
Thanks, Navia.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how...
To be honest, you might be...
No. We're already very grateful that you...
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? That was to be expected, of course. The guilt, but don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding... Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results...
Yes, of course. I will explain, well...
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick...
Yes, that's correct.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady...
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct...
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption.
Oh, is that so?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built an...
And you didn't hear anything?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud.
Huh?
Hey!
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from
I was right by the box and I
Look at those scales. Look at them.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundation. Tell me, aren't you
The house of the hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there... The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. Good thing I made all those preparations.
Hey, Linny, what?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me first. When the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Are these claims true? Please answer my...
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary?
The defendant deceived their own attorneys.
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's... In that case, my dear audience, let's...
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think... I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon, just we based our entire reasoning on the assumption not to set the wrong tone or anything.
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before, but our organization is very, very large, and
Right now, we want to save people.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, that's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, but still, I'm asking you to trust me.
Sorry.
Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear your answer first.
Of course. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. During our investigations, we learned that the machine, from that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap.
Is that why you needed a whole
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from... So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel, specifically...
Well, nothing. As soon as which should have been impossible, of course, that voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to... On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But after that, the homicide...
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can.
That's the only way we can save
So, there you have it. The whole truth. It was never my wish to proceed, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are... If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue
That took long enough. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began. He entered. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which he did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is finally he used the vase to knock her out before making her change clothes. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and so Linney proceeded to knock him afterward. Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience. And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady...
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. Seems this won't produce a particularly effective... According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. Linney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. Linney did not take part in the underground altercation.
Attention! When the countdown started, he immediately used a vent to access the opera house. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in which the crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. Finally, he reached the surface and... Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the assuming that what you say is true, Linney only needs...
That's right, you tell him! Oh, well, your denial is very strident. Of course I do. If he... You're saying that he wasn't.
Sure we don't need to give this more thought? That's right! Linney wasn't! This means that when the crime happened, the same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the
Well, to think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linney who committed the crimes, then who was it? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant.
That can't be.
Oh, is that so?
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator. The sound we heard may have come from a clash. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the opera house through. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come. It would have been tough for both people. No one entered or left the opera. The sound we heard may have come from a clash, but the deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing. No one entered or left the opera house. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. Lenny was not in the tunnel at the...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble
I see how it is.
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick as it transpired,
If only we knew how Halsey
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. The vase was not broken by chance.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together about Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and if there's a similar...
Oh, just how could a person ever be transformed into water? This... Must we really? Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection.
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention, but given that we aren't making much progress with the case,
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an... Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the person.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Count. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are the primordials. The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells it. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely, as such, we believe that the defense's
You've got to be kidding!
But something so
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophet.
If people can become water, does that mean that the water... Just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just try...
Order! Oh. It is undeniable that further... Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic. Guards, please continue examining the... Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is...
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of these cases...
Right! Like the metal hook! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from...
Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick. The water from the primordial sea should all... The water from the primordial sea... The rope that strung the water tank... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire... The deceased's name is Cowell. Now it seems like the hook rope... The rope that strung the I remember there was something...
It's Ace Detective! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually, and when the balloon attached to the box popped. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water, but he encountered something unexpected.
That actually links together a lot of the...
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they...
Now, it seems like the only point of content... His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related...
On that note, the guards have just contacted me. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just in... And we found an identical sample of the water from the prime...
What?
That can't be. Does this not my dear citizens, my loyal audience? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all, having made modifications to the props beforehand. But upon his return, and ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool met now. As much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward... Am I right? We've used up all the evidence we collected. Is this the...
Oh no! Seems using the water as new evidence.
I think we've all seen enough now. I believe this is indeed... Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice. Excuse me, everyone.
Miss, I must ask you not to...
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young What in the...
No offense, miss, but miracles like that...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? it often once everyone believes the illusion. Can't magic reveal the truth to them once? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous? Come on, Lenny and Lynette, give it another go. But as the magic makers and stars of the show,
I understand.
And voila!
Wait, isn't that Halsey?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. Where should I begin? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there, but I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I bit—
Hey! No wonder you look familiar! Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty—
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked— So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so there was nowhere to run from there, though. So I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
this time, we need to tell... The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily Ann's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between... Lily Ann was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and...
And it's Ace Detective! Having been selected out of the blue, Lily Ann, her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the... He did not know that Lily Ann was not from Font... Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed... The two broke the flower vase during the struggle. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes... that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons.
At this point, all the
so bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you... Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the...
What are you reading? No. I have no further argument.
Wow! Look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once... The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, select with some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that to cover up any evidence while committing the deed. Cowell thought of he also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank. Using the fireworks at the end of the performance, he poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lily Ann was not from... Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Liliane, thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed. Liliane, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance. As for Linny, he was in the underground structure. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that while there is much in Linny and Liliane's conduct, this case at least can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not.
Great work, partner.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve. How did you find the water from the primordial?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not. I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way.
We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, therefore you would be wise to tell every.
Yes, our boss discovered that the water can also be made into a potion, which when extremely dilute. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it.
And now he can no longer.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true.
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Linny.
I know you may not want to speak to me right now, but still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I guess. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of that was how Father, who you might know as the Knave.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth?
That's right. And since we're here, back when our parents first died, to survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meet. Before long, an aristocrat came to me.
So you went from.
That was how we felt at first too. But I gradually discovered that while he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention.
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It took a while. After one particular performance at a banquet, I waited a long time after we returned home, but the answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet.
Oh no. But
as far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in.
So, she.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement. Father, the Knave, might have. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. I was hesitant to trust her. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtained.
So, she believes.
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the Knave, has their roots in. To us orphans, the only connection we have.
So, From small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like—
It's alright. I understand. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the house, I have never— If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for it?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who— And given that there's new evidence from the trial—
Ah, I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little sorry.
Don't say that now.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing— sorry about that. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know—
Huh? Do we really need to get—
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every— Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much—
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm if Boss Navi is—
Oh, wonderful! In that case, why don't we return to the court of Fontaine—
All right, then.